Welcome to the Astrotherapy podcast. I am your host, Ciela Winter, and I am thrilled to dive deep into the inner realms of provocative thought while discovering an array of astrological and psychological insights to accompany us on this quest of self-inquiry. Welcome to this very potent lunar full moon eclipse in Aries season, and it is a Libra full moon. So the full moon is illuminated by the Aries sun, and this axis is relational. This is about you and me, and all the variations of you and me for each of us. So the question for you this week: are you blasted open by this full moon lunar eclipse? For me, I'm learning just how emotionally reserved I've been living my entire life. This might come as a surprise for many of you, especially those of you who really know me and know that I'm emotional and I'm quite in touch with my emotions to a certain point, meaning I'm not blasted open right now. If anything, I've been in a process of melting down the internal glacial sphere around my heart that has kept me locked up and frozen in protective gear since childhood. So I am somewhere between drowning and floating, and truly no one has gotten in past my own interior wall that is much like that of Game of Thrones' massive fortification made of ice and stone that borders the kingdom of the north. This is where winter comes from, by the way. But hey, now we've entered spring, as well as Aries season, and the very beginning of a new astrological year. And with Aries season this year comes, drum roll, eclipse season. Yes, there is a lot going on, and right now we are very much in the midst of some critically important sweeping changes occurring in the relational axis of Aries and Libra, as I mentioned. Self and other, me and you, independent and interdependence, not to be confused with the shadow reflection of codependence when imbalance is present in the relationship. Do any of you feel that this eclipse season might just well redefine your current relational reality? It is definitely changing mine. Last Monday, Mercury aligned in conjunction with the North Node, which basically signaled the incoming eclipse season as if on megaphone to the entire cosmos, and most likely sent a personalized message to you too. Did you get your message? Well, I got my message. It said, dramatic turns ahead. Do not attempt to intellectualize this, as you will instead have to live this process while dry heaving the karma out of your physical body and psyche. And it has already been real. What is it, you might ask? What is it that has been real? Well, that's personal. Or is it? I'm really questioning what is personal anymore and what is worth sharing. Am I just a private person, or am I hiding myself out of shame? Or is it some glitch that needs to feel seen and heard, but doesn't want to be seen, just heard? In a social media society, does privacy even exist? It seems that new generations might not really understand what privacy even means. And social media, I could do without it. And honestly, I just might. Not that I will stop writing or creating. You might just not know about it unless you read my newsletter or someone sends you these journal entries. And maybe that'll feel more than an aligned choice. Perhaps it will feel free. Freedom from even having some sort of love, hate, mostly hate kind of attention upon that social media mechanism, which requires to be fed. It's like a beast that needs to be consistently fed. And who wants to be an avoidant mother? Not I, but I also don't want to be a parent to a social media profile. Okay, so is all of this ranting entirely off topic and it just needed to be said? Maybe not entirely, as Mercury is in Aries, and that which is agitating, irritable, or under the skin will be flushing itself out from your system, from my system, from our systems. So go ahead. What was it that you needed to say? Or perhaps you can just scream into your pillow. Have you ever sung into your pillow? Me neither, but it sounds like a potential alternative, especially for those of us who don't really enjoy screaming. So if you can't tell, the energy is wild, it is untamed. It has a good mix of mayhem and potential for the unexpected. You maybe haven't read a journal of mine that jumped around so much or alludes to having been a cathartic experience for me as a writer, and maybe a curious one as you as a reader. Well, friends, that is the tone of the moment, one in which your eclipse moment could be cathartic for you in the way that only you will understand, and curious to everyone else in your life. You are setting a new tone, new boundaries, and a new path for yourself. This is not about pleasing the masses. This is about forging your true identity. And while each of us are in some cadence of rebirth that is, of an appropriately proportion. Let me say this again. Each one of us is in some cadence of rebirth that is appropriately proportionate to the amount of death we've just endured on the inner planes of sacrificing beloved egos. What happens next is completely unknown. And this is really speaking to those of you who have been doing inner work and have been dying to yourself, to parts of yourself. So some of you may end relationships that are not in sync with your heartbeat. Others may change jobs or pack up and move or conceive. One thing for sure, your identity is on the line and you are being asked to cross it. A part of you will be left behind, and that is the price you will have to pay in order to turn on the illuminated potential that is patiently, impatiently waiting for you to arrive into. So enjoy and have a blast. All my best to you, and please receive the peace of my heart that lives inside these words.